Man, Caitlin Clark also has 5.8 rebounds a game.
Yes.
Jeez.
Got that nose for the ball. She's got that nose for the ball.
It's all about positioning, I guess, huh? Right. Okay.
How many is she stealing from Aaliyah Boston again? I should look at at Boston's year over year. Oh, she's actually up this year.
Yeah, she's giving you 9 rebounds a game. Jesus Christ.
And change. All right, let's do this then.
Yeah, so just prepare to...
It'll be great.
It'll be perfect.
Y'all motherfuckers don't watch us play throughout the year, to tell you the truth. I'm gonna be real with you, and I don't care if I get fined.
That must be Jeremiah. Put some shoes on.
That train is off the tracks.
Who doesn't love the bouncy castle?
Hitler.
Just prepare to... just prepare to be awash in undebeatable goodness.
Welcome, Pacers fans. You are listening to the Undebeatables, your Pacers podcast. Today is Sunday, August 25th, and this is episode 718. Coming to you from Tacoma, Washington. I am your temporary host, the enforcer, John Harper. Joining me today is one of our analysts, mixing up the drinks and the crappy jingles, hailing from Asheville, North Carolina, Mr. Jonathan Colson.
What is up, Pacer Nation? What is up, Harper? Yeah, shouts out to all the peoples. We miss you. Miss you. I believe this is your favorite Pacer podcast, and we miss you guys too.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the one who's missed all the pods this summer, so I look forward to getting everybody together soon. Thank you guys for some content over the past few weeks. Schedule pod was great.
Schedule pod. Yeah, you got to check it out. Figure out how we're gonna dominate the NBA, which is what it looks like.
That is for sure the plan.
Easiest schedule of all time.
Easy peasy. I mean, they all look easy when, you've got Tyrese Halliburton on your team.
That's true.
Pascal Siakam and Johnny Furphy.
That's what gives me solace at night.
He's our secret weapon.
Johnny Furphy on the roster.
Well, we're probably just doing a quick one tonight. Thank you guys for the shout out to Caitlin Clark last week. I'd like to piggyback on that a little bit and talk a little bit more about Caitlin Clark and the Fever's incredible turnaround this season, and speculate wildly on Benedict Mathurin and where he's at and going to fit into our lineup. Let's go ahead and start with Caitlin Clark.
Let's do it.
Tough start for the Fever this season. We had, I think, 11 games in 20 days. That's something ridiculous to start the season, right?
They wanted to put her on national TV like every other day.
And she was getting not Rookie of the Year attention, but MVP level attention. And it caused tons of problems early in the year. She had a really, really tough start. Not to mention the fact that, obviously, this was a lottery team last year, right? So,
well, for sure.
Didn't have a...
We got the number one pick.
For a reason.
We weren't real good.
For a reason. But it's been an incredible turnaround for this team. They've just been on fire after a 2-9 start. And Caitlin Clark has now positioned herself atop the Rookie of the Year rankings, leading in assists. You guys mentioned last week that she broke the single season rookie assist record with 12 games to go. By the way, if you haven't seen that particular dime, it was incredible. Just a quick 60-foot lead pass over 2 defenders for an easy layup, as you do when you're Caitlin Clark. But she's put herself in some incredibly storied company, matching up very favorably against the likes of Kelsey Plum and Diana Taurasi, even Sue Bird in their rookie campaigns. It normally takes guards in this league, some time to settle in. And that was certainly true for her, but instead of a season, it took half a season.
And now she's giving you 8.5 assists a game.
She's been incredibly good. She's still shooting over 40% from the range. She's good for almost 18 points a game. And she just seems to get better every time out there. The decision-making has improved because of the just constant double teaming that she was demanding out around the 3-point line. A lot of turnovers early in the year, but she's really gotten to a place where she's making better decisions, still averaging about 5 turnovers a game. But with how quick the game moves in the current era, how much she is expected to have the ball in her hands and create, not surprising for a rookie to be a little high on the turnover side.
For sure. Takes a while to figure out the league. I mean, you're the best player on the floor all the time when you're in college, and then suddenly you're, everybody on the floor is as good as you. And, these aren't kids anymore, these are grown-ass women that you're playing against. But she's still ripping down 6 rebounds against these grown-ass women. Like, she's incredible. Absolutely amazing. And to watch her, you're right, it's like she's figured out in half a season. You've watched the game slow down for her. And I know that, she didn't really have a break. The NCAA tournament ended, and then she got drafted the next day, and then the season started almost immediately. And with all the press and all the hoopla, I'm sure that her, life has felt like there's not really been a break. But watching these games recently, it does seem like she has a better handle, and the game itself is slowing down, even if all the stuff around her isn't.
Truly. And it seems like she's setting a new record every night. Her team is comfortably now in the playoffs and went from that brutal 20-game stretch to start the season to now the second easiest schedule remaining coming home. This is a couple games back. They've since gone 1-1 with
dropped one to the Lynx, right?
Yeah, dropped to the Lynx, beat the Storm. That Storm is the game in which she set the rookie record for assists. Also had 19 assists in one game this year against Dallas, as you do. They've got some real signature wins. They beat good teams this season. And if they continue to improve on the trajectory that they're on, they're going to be dangerous come playoff time. This is not a team that you want to find yourself matched up against.
Well, yeah,
in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, and the WNBA playoffs. You got to remember that first round is 3 games. You can upset somebody. All you got to do is
3 games is not a lot of games.
Without a doubt. No, it's not. So a lot of stuff can happen. Let's see. It looks like the Fever are still in the 7th seed for the playoffs. The top 8 teams make it. We've got a 2-game lead on the Sky for the 8th seed and a 3.5-game lead over the Dream.
It's
it's
not teams that are outside looking in are not very good though.
Yeah, the Dream is the only one that has an actual mathematical chance at this point. I think there's only 11 games remaining. You've got 8.5 games over 8 games over the Mystics. 6 games? Yeah, whatever. It's basically, we're looking good at being in the playoffs, and could still catch the Mercury, but that's probably it. But we could get the 6th seed and see what happens.
Well, if we can catch the Mercury, we've got the head-to-head because we swept them this season.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, barring a really serious backslide, we are going to close out extremely strong. This is a talented team. I don't wonder. Caitlin, obviously, very young, but maybe felt a little bit of that Olympian snub. Certainly made good use of her time. That was as close as she has gotten to a break, probably.
Right.
But she's been working on her game for sure, showing off a little push shot in the lane against the Lynx. So yeah, she's continuing to add and just really seeing that decision making improve. She's incredibly good and getting better every night. It's fun to watch. I thought this team was gonna be a year away from being competitive, but they have really turned it around. This is incredible.
Aaliyah Boston's continuing to be amazing. You've got, the youngest for sure, and one of the strongest 1-2 punches in the WNBA already for the guard and center.
Absolutely, and you look at Kelsey Mitchell and Lexi Hull, and these her teammates are playing really well around her. There's good chemistry up and down that roster. They really seem to enjoy playing with each other. It goes a long way in the locker room when people just show up with the joie de basketball, as Jason might say.
Right. Well, shout out Caitlin Clark. Shout out Fever.
Shout out Indiana Fever.
Yeah. We just anecdotally, we have so many people coming in to ask about the WNBA now. Which I work in a sports bar. That didn't really happen last year.
Any year prior.
Right, exactly. And so that's been great. A lot of people are there just to watch Caitlin Clark, but and I think also online gambling just became legal here in North Carolina. So there's a lot of big groups of guys that are betting on the WNBA. I love it. They're clapping and cheering, and it's great fun.
Yeah. No, it isn't. It really is incredible the effect that she's already had on the league. I can't imagine what that must be to wake up to every morning. And she's handled it really gracefully.
My owner fell in love with Caitlin Clark watching the tournament last year, and
God, I wanted that so bad for her.
Yeah. And the fact that she's now on the Fever means we're rooting for my owner's rooting for an Indiana team, even though she's out here in Asheville, and she's actually traveling tomorrow to Atlanta to watch the Fever in Atlanta.
Oh, to watch the Fever beat the Dream.
Yeah, exactly.
An important game for us.
It is an important game. We need to beat the Dream.
We need to beat that Dream right out of them.
So my boss has been doing to me for a couple of years now.
Subtext of that team name made me feel really bad about saying that. But we do need a dub in that game. Well, go Fever. It's going to be a fun close. It's super cool to be able to watch all the games too. I've not had trouble getting.
Right, that's the other thing about
game.
What Caitlin Clark has brought to this league. It's on TV now, which has been fantastic.
Yeah.
So.
Well, moving on to our other podcast about the Pacers. It's time to start speculating wildly about Benedict Mathurin. We had an incredible year last year, as you guys discussed last week, and we did all of that without Benedict Mathurin, and still looked like one of the deepest benches in the league.
Right.
I mean, our first 3 or 4 guys off that bench are incredibly good. We led the league again. It's 2 years in a row we've led the league in scoring.
Yes.
And I have no doubt that we're going to be looking for a third to put on the board. That's only going to get easier, one would think, with a downhill scorer like Mather on the squad. First off, any updates on him coming back? I haven't read anything that suggested that he wasn't on his timetable.
Yeah, no, in fact, he's ahead of timetable the last we heard. So we expect him to be ready and healthy by the beginning of the season. Doesn't seem like there's anything counteracting that in the news right now. So that is great news. Benny had a kind of an up and down sophomore season. His field goal percentage dropped. We started asking him to do other things than we did in his first year. His rookie year, we just kind of put the ball in his hands on the bench and just let him drive to the basket and get fouled or get the ball in the hoop somehow. He's an amazing finisher, a really exciting athlete, and seems to just care about basketball and winning and so much. I mean, he's one of those guys that just like got the dog in him. You feel like he's a winner, you know? And we started asking him in his sophomore year to play some defense, grab some rebounds, pass the ball sometimes. Instead, so when you draw those defenders, can you pass out? You know, and he does have that tunnel vision to the basket, and you know, and for good reason, because most likely he's going to find a way to score or to get to the line. But you know, we ask him to have a more well-rounded game, especially as a starter. He lost his starting spot after about 19 games, then came off the bench for the rest of the season until he hurt himself. And then, as you mentioned, Harper, you know, we go on this amazing playoff run with this really deep bench, and you know, Mathurin doesn't get any of that seasoning that the rest of the guys did. You know, playing in those big games. You know, we played Game 7 in the freaking Garden. You know, like absolutely incredible run for the team. And my concern is that there's not a lot of place left for him on the roster, and I'm concerned that the team maybe left him behind. And this is the kind of stuff that keeps me up at night. Do you have anything to make me feel better here?
Well, I'm guessing that at least some of those thoughts have probably already occurred to Benedict Mathurin too. And from what we have seen from this guy, one thing that we can be pretty sure of is, you know, he ain't going to lose a battle or a matchup or a spot for lack of work. He works really hard on his game.
True. Yeah.
And, you know, he's going to, you know, like you said, he's got that dog in him. So he's going to keep after it. And I don't know what he's been able to add to his game while also taking care of this rehab. But you suspect that he may have been able to do a little work on the jump shot maybe and extend his range a little bit while coming back. Because you can do that without full contact, right? And obviously a ton of time in the film room too. And the decision-making did need to improve. If you want minutes on this team, you've got to show that you can move the basketball. I mean,
that's the whole thing we do. It's just a beautiful style of basketball. You really pass it until somebody's open.
And you can't be the black hole on this team and expect that things are going to go smoothly. There may be lineups where we're going to count on a guy. There are going to be times when we call plays, but these things are the exception. This team is out there playing, you know, that Isaiah Thomas basketball that we were talking about, you know, back in the 90s, positionless basketball, where guys are just out there reading and reacting and just letting the game come to them. And, you know, you got to be half a step ahead. If you're half a step behind, you know, you're going to be lost in this offense.
Well, we started him last year at small forward. Aaron Nesmith comes in and, you know, he doesn't shoot as much. He shooting 50% from the floor. He's shooting 42% from the range. And he's the best defender on the team.
Incredibly good defense.
And so suddenly you're like, well, I can't keep this guy out of my starting lineup. He also is a guy who demands less. He doesn't need the ball. You know, if he's open, he shoots it, sort of thing. On a team that has on a starting unit that has Halliburton and Siakam, who are going to be your primary scorers, and then Turner being your third scorer. It's nice to have
a 3-and-D guy.
Right, exactly. And so it seems like Mathurin should be probably coming off the bench to make sense of, that starting lineup, unless you want to put Andrew Nembhard off the bench. But we've already learned that having that secondary ball handler next to Halliburton and sometimes maybe the shooter is so incredibly hard to defend, and was one of the reasons for our success this year. Is when Nembhard went back into that starting lineup, thought it really opened a lot of things up for the team.
And for Halliburton, I mean, it's incredibly tough to just see 3 jerseys coming at you every time you even think about handling the ball. Like these guys, the worst defender in the NBA is incredibly good.
Yep.
And when they're scheming you the way that they scheme Halliburton, life is hard. And having a guy like Halliburton who can just break you down, I mean, it's incredibly important. And you're going to see in the playoffs for sure, which makes you think, why not just run it out most of the year?
Right.
Probably, to make sure that the chemistry's there.
Yeah. But you also go, well, isn't Benedict Mathurin the kind of talent that is going to be, he's the future of our franchise, right? This kind of guy is really special scorer, and you just wonder if, you want to get him that starting lineup meshing with the other guys, kind of burn in that starting unit. And I just don't think it makes sense right now. He makes perfect sense off the bench. I mean, I think you've T.J. McConnell's going to run that second unit. Obi Toppin's going to be your, high flyer. But
that guy's fun.
And Ben Shepherd has earned his time as the shooting guard. But that small forward position, we ran basically a 8 or 9 man row last, in the playoffs. We played Isaiah Jackson, a little 3, a little 4, a little 5. He helped us fill in the gaps on that bench. But I think he could probably, give you those backup 3 minutes. I don't know. We've also got James Wiseman now on the team. If he's maybe just center insurance, or do you think he's going to get, real play as a backup center?
I think he's a guy with a lot of upside. I think that we're good at developing talent at that position, but I also think he's center insurance.
Yeah, he only cost us $2 million. I mean, Obi Toppin can play center, so can Isaiah Jackson, and I guess if you really needed it, Jarris Walker's a hell of a rebounder.
There's going to be lineups where Jarris Walker might be out there at the 5 spot. We're not afraid to play small, and Jarris Walker sure can play big. Right. I am excited to see what he brings to the table this year. It's going to be fun to watch these guys progress. The bad news for Mathurin is somehow I always think Nesmith is older than he is. Guy's 24 years old.
Yeah, right.
Like, he ain't going anywhere.
Well, and that's the thing. All these guys, right? I mean, there's just nobody on the squad that's old that's going to age out. I mean, maybe there's guys that we can't afford eventually or whatever. But, do you think Ben Shepherd, Jarris Walker, and, Benedict Mathurin are the up-and-comers, and they're going to be the future of the franchise? Everybody in front of them the same freaking age.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Halliburton's turning
Miles
25
Turner's only
this year.
28.
Right. Right.
He's like old man Winter on our team. He's 28 years old.
Well, and Siakam, I guess, how old's he? He's 30. Okay.
He's 30.
And probably be 31 this year. And, of course, T.J. McConnell's 32, be 33. So those are some guys that, but I mean, it's not like it's not like they're retiring next year,
Yeah, and those guys are not holding Mathurin's minutes either.
No, they are not. That is true. That is true. So it'll be interesting. I mean, you always say, let them work it out in camp,
Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, exactly. And whoever's playing the best, whoever earns coach's trust is going to see the floor. I worry because, I mean, this is a good problem to have, right?
As a coach, yeah.
Yeah, and as a fan, right? Oh, we got too many good players. So what are we going to do?
My guy's not getting enough minutes.
Are we
winning games?
I think we're all a fan of this kid. I think we're all really excited about him.
For sure.
He honestly, his rookie year, I thought, this is a revelation. Like, this kid is literally the future of this franchise. He's just got a winning mentality. And then, he gets injured at just the wrong time for everybody else to step up and get that experience. And, it'll be interesting to see. I'm rooting for the kid. And, I know it's Jason's favorite Pacer, so I know he's rooting for him. But I just wonder if long term he works as the guard next to Halliburton. He's going to have to become a better facilitator to make that happen.
Do you think he's a 2 or a 3? Is Benedict Mathurin a 2 or a 3?
I think he's either or. He's 6'5".
Way to answer that question.
Well, he's 6'5", which makes him a bigger guard.
He's listed 6'6".
6'6", okay. Smaller. That's a fine small forward size.
It's not
but
a small forward. Small forward in this. I mean, even in this day and age, it's not small.
Guys
big.
are 6'7", 6'8" at that position.
I mean, LeBron James is came in the league as a 3.
Right, and he's
or
6'9",
like
whatever.
6'8", 6'9".
Yeah. But I think that and he's got the beef for it. I mean, he's got the body that he can body up against some guys.
He doesn't really have the range for a 2 for me.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You just has to become a cutting 2, right? He's your relief valve on Halliburton when people you play pick and roll with him. I guess he just dives.
Yeah.
There's ways for it to work. I think the issue is that Nembhard was getting the best wings on the other team and guarding them. I mean, he had to do that all playoffs, and in fact, he had to guard Jalen Brunson for crying out loud. But Benedict Mathurin hasn't shown that he can do that, and we need somebody in that starting lineup that can do that. Can he guard a Giannis Antetokounmpo? He hasn't proven he can do that.
Our 2 best defenders, not named Miles Turner, they are Nembhard and Nesmith.
Yes,
right?
yes, correct.
And so those are the guys that he's trying to supplant. I mean, one thing that he could be really valuable, let's say he does come off the bench and maybe he spells sort of towards the end of, Halliburton's, opening stint, right? When he starts to wear down, Benedict Mathurin can come in there and, create for himself and give these guys a blow, even while they're on the floor. Like, there's stuff that he can do to help these guys.
Right.
But with 2 guys who fit into our system as well as, Nembhard and Nesmith have, with how well they defend, they're going to be really, really tough to supplant as a starter.
Yeah, well, and we just
hard.
extended Nembhard to real legitimate money, which suggests to me
one of the biggest shots in Pacers history. Yeah.
I completely agree. I'm not mad that we did it. I mean, I agree with you. That shot earned him a lot of money.
I mean, that shot alone was worth the money.
But I guess my my concern though is that if you're going to pay him like a starter, he's probably going to start. Now I know it's up to coach, but it seems like we paid him to be our long-term starter there. At least for the next 4 years. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
He also had a better better postseason than his regular season.
Mm-hmm.
Did Nembhard?
I like those things.
It may be that he could adjust to more of a bench role if necessary, but then what does TJ do? Right? I don't know.
Yeah, because TJ is good. I mean, we tried to do that last year, right? That was the plan. Mathurin goes in the starting lineup. Nembhard comes off the bench. TJ doesn't see the floor, and he was just too good. He was too important.
Can't do that.
Yeah, but now Nembhard's making $20 million a year. So it's like that's starter money. It just is. It's
starter money, but just his poise on the court is just so incredible. What an incredible find.
Right. Second round draft pick.
Yeah.
Wasn't he? Wasn't that? I'm right on that, aren't I?
Yeah. This is, I think, top of the ladder, second round, I think.
Yeah. Let's see. Second round, 31st pick. Yep. Not bad at all.
Out of Gonzaga. We've got so many Canadians on the team. I don't know. That's the only thing that concerns me about Nembhard, Mathurin. They could be spies. I don't know.
Oh, well, again, good problem to have. I just worry about old Benny, and I hope, I'm sure it'll work itself out. But what depth and what youth, and that depth and youth just got a bunch of experience. The thing that that Jason mentioned during the schedule pod was that we're going to have the advantage of continuity going into next season. And it's a pretty rough start to the season, but if we're going against teams that are experimenting, trying to figure some stuff out, there's a chance that we could jump on some teams early. And then we have no long road trips and the easiest home stretch I can ever remember. We could win a lot of games here. I'm really excited about this team.
So you said that we should. I think you said 50. I don't think you were any more specific than that.
No, we did our 50, 55, or 45.
40,
So 45
50,
is
55.
Yeah. So if everything goes wrong, we win 45 games. We should be looking at 50. If everything goes right, 55.
I mean, if everything goes wrong, I mean, you can lose a lot of games.
Well, yeah, sure. Yeah, if we lose Siakam and Halliburton to long-term injuries, we're
early
in a
in
lot
the
of
year,
trouble. Yeah, we're in a lot of trouble. Sure.
But if you don't, boy, 45 feels really low for this team.
Yeah,
I'm super excited to see if Halliburton can figure out the marathon that is the NBA season, and have that. God. The first couple months of last season were as much fun as I've ever had being a Pacers fan. Watching that guy
absolutely
at
electric.
an MVP level.
Yeah. Yeah, he was
If we
first
can
team
get
All
that
NBA. If they had done
late in
All
the
NBA teams at the end of the first third of the season, he's first team All NBA.
Without question.
Yeah.
And with questionable defense. He's so good offensively.
Well,
And
yeah.
he didn't get much of a break this year, but it's hard to believe that he didn't glean a lot, being the heady kid that he is, playing with those, with the Olympic team.
Yeah. He got to hang out with Steph Curry and LeBron James,
Kevin Durant.
Jason Tatum,
These guys are okay. They're all right.
Yeah, so I hopefully this could be a career year for him. I mean, that's happened in the past. People come back from the Olympics, have a career year. But last year was a career year, so let's just keep getting better.
They're all going to be career years for this kid for a while.
This is really fun.
It's going to be a good year, man. It's going to be a good year.
Yeah, I don't know if we can go back to the Eastern Conference Finals again. We had some breaks go our way, but man, why not? We're better now.
I mean, you weren't afraid of a healthy Milwaukee team. I feel like they kind of broke themselves by getting rid of Holiday, man.
They did. As
much as I love Dame, man, they just don't seem as effective.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of Milwaukee. Sorry.
And I'm not afraid of New York because I just don't think that they're going to be able to sustain that level of play.
You don't think picking up Mikal Bridges is going to help them considerably?
It will until their coach grinds them all to a black pole.
And they'll all be injured by the playoffs again.
That's correct.
Yeah. All right.
But maybe they'll have 5 healthy guys instead of the 3 that they had.
Right. Yeah, they added some more guys that he can grind.
Jesus. Oh, Tibbs.
Oh, man. Well, and, we lost that Boston series. We probably would have lost that Boston series no matter what, but they just had way more experience. They had been to that in those games over and over and over again, and we lost those games down the stretch. We were up.
Who wasn't Boston going to beat this year?
Right, that's true. But we were up with 2 minutes left in 3 of those games. If we knew how to close like they did, we would have, maybe had been a longer series at least. Could have won at least one of those 4 games, maybe 2, 3 if you're already damn good at closing. So I don't know. I feel like, I'm not saying we're better than Boston, but Boston had.
Hey, we got more film on them than they got on us on some level.
That is true. That is true. And they've also had 5 years of going to the Eastern Conference Finals. It takes a long time to get over the hump and to take your lumps. And that's what our journey is right now.
Seasoning. Sibilance.
But yeah, I mean, Fever looking great and young. Pacers looking great and young. It's a great time to be a basketball team fan in Indiana. So.
If only we were great and young.
I'm neither great nor young, my friend.
Well, thank you all for listening. If you want to find us online, you can reach us at Undebeatables on X, facebook.com/theundebeatables. Shout out at theundebeatables.com if you know what email is.
If you are over the age of 30, you can email us.
Or just call us. I'll post Colson's cell phone to the website.
That's fine. It's already on the dark web, I'm sure.
There you go. And on our website, you can find the merch.
For the architect, Donnie Walsh, and our once and always Hall of Fame coach, Bobby Sick-Leonard. Turn out the lights. The party's over.
Nice.
I kind of got into the Bears.
Bears.
What happened there?
Bulls. The Bears. The Bulls.
Oh, you guys are missing the dance party over here.